Price of VolQuest, who joins us this morning. What's up, Austin? How are you?
I'm great, guys. How are you?
Good.
Good morning.
We are good, and we are still anxiously awaiting, Austin, this former five-star tackle from LSU, Zalance Hurd, who continues to deliberate and potentially choose Tennessee as he continues to make a decision. Is this the most amount of questions you've gotten in 1 week about one player, Austin, as this recruitment still continues?
I mean, probably in the course of a week. I mean, J.J. Peterson probably would be the all-timer, but it's a lot in the last week, and school starts next Tuesday, so the rubber's got to meet the road at some point, and I think we're slowly getting there, and I still feel really, 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 really good about where Tennessee's at with Lance Hurd, but he's officially not announced yet anything for Tennessee.
Also, Price of VolQuest, our guest, as he is every Tuesday here at 8:20 on RKW. So, Austin, at this point, if you pencil Zalance Hurd in and then look at the other needs on this offensive line, specifically at left guard, where you've got Andre Carrick, you've got Jackson Lampley, you've got options, is Zalance Hurd, you think, the final addition Tennessee makes on the offensive line before the spring and the fall? And obviously, spring, they won't be able to add anyone until the window opens again. But do you think this is the last addition Tennessee makes on the O-line, or do you think they still want to add one more in the spring?
I think, you're looking at, probably this being the last addition until the spring window. And maybe the last addition overall, depending on who they can get. They're not going to just add a body to add a body. And so that's kind of, where this thing's at. But they'd love to add more depth at guard. Obviously, Lampley played really solid in the bowl game. Carrick, was a starter early and then got, injured, and then, they've got to get healthy. And then we'll see what they get out of some of those younger linemen if they, make a jump, this spring and summer heading into fall, just from a development standpoint.
Austin, we are still on George McIntyre commitment watch here in Nashville, the Brentwood Academy quarterback who is a big-time target for Tennessee, the target for Tennessee in the class of 2025. Do you think Kalen DeBoer's hiring in Alabama delays his decision at all, or do you think he's still close to making a decision that could possibly be good news for Tennessee?
No, I think the 6 to 8 inches of snow that Middle Tennessee got delays his decision. At some point you have to be in school, and so we'll see. Georgia's I know he hadn't announced it yet, but I think he was hoping to come to some decision late in the week, and when he does that, much like most kids, I think he wants to do it in front of his student body. And so if Brentwood Academy is not in school, then you're looking at getting that pushed back to next week. So I've said it for months. I feel like Tennessee was the team to beat. They've done the best job for the longest, and I still feel that way.
Austin, it's incredible. When I was at Brentwood Academy, I got like 2 snow days in 7 years, and here were the kids these days, Austin. Come on. Unbelievable.
They're soft. You know what I mean?
Come on, Will. You trying to get the guy
Back
to
when
commit
I
to
was a
Tennessee.
boy, I walked uphill both ways in the snow.
Goodness.
No, you did not. He did not.
A couple
okay?
weeks ago.
He did not at all, Austin.
Trust me, I can tell you Josh Heupel's message. Plow the roads, get them to school.
I feel
Preach.
that. I feel that. With that being said, the situations that Bama is dealing with, and potentially Michigan too, with their coaches leaving, how do you continue to keep commits there? There's one here in Middle Tennessee that's a Michigan commit also. Like, where does that conversation go to the parents as far as these new signees or either these last year commitments actually stand at these universities, or is it a free-for-all to try to take them?
Well, it's definitely a free-for-all. It's a free-for-all, even if you're not going through a coaching change, Ramon. I mean, you're constantly having to recruit your own players back. There's constantly schools tampering with your players and, putting things in their mind, putting things in their ear, putting things in their parents or aunts or uncles or whatever mind. And so it's a struggle for all coaches. It's not a one school or two school thing. This is an everybody thing. But specifically with you're talking about, Bama, potentially Michigan, Washington, Arizona, ones that have kind of went through coaching changes in the last week. and you're having to constantly sell yourself. And the biggest thing is like being able to turn around and hire somebody pretty quick, right? I mean, Bama hired DeBoer within 48 hours. Washington then turned around and hired Fish, within 2 days, about the same time. You can't have what Tennessee had happen in 2017, which was like this long, lengthy process of turn downs and, twists and turns. I mean, in today's time, if you have a search more than a couple of days, I mean, you're getting pillaged. Your roster will be so small by the time you get somebody hired, and it still could be anyways, because I mean the kids have 30 days, but it's definitely a challenge and a reason why college coaches, if they get the chance to go to the NFL, have to take a long, hard look at it.
Austin, the way it seems to me, it seems like more teams are taking advantage of recruiting through the portal for offensive guys more than defensive guys. Is that the way you see it? Because, again, to watch a offensive lineman mature or wide receiver learn how to read defenses or, somebody's running back that was, at a bad school, it's easier to go get those guys than it seemed like the defenders for the most part.
I think there's the flashier of the portal entrance. You know what I mean? Like, that guy had 8 touchdowns at, small school U, right? I mean, let's go get him. Like, so, I mean, I think it's easier and more flashy probably. How many times have you seen, well, this guy had 7 sacks at this small school, or this guy had 8 interceptions? I mean, like, it just doesn't sound as fancy or flashy. So I think a lot of that's perception. I think that kids, I think just as many defensive kids get found out of the portal as offensive kids. I don't think and maybe it's 55 to 45. I don't think it's some big, huge disparity number. But I do think, you're looking at, the flashier names because the quarterback position, the wide receiver position, they are, just a little more flashy in the portal. And so that's sort of a little more coveted.
Austin Price of VolQuest joining us this morning on RK-Dub. I am curious as your thoughts when it comes to the Alabama hire of Kaylan DeBoer. Clearly, I think a lot of Vols fans happy that Nick Saban has retired, but what do you see in terms of what he could do there? I mean, there's a lot on his back in terms of the pressure.
100%. And the national narrative is what? Home run hire. Guys want everywhere he's been at every level. There's no reason to think that won't continue at Alabama. Now, the SEC is a little bit different. Recruiting in this league is a little bit different. Coaching in Alabama is a little bit different. I saw the one TikTok video like the day after Saban retired, and it was like, Alabama fans' reaction when they lose the first coin toss next year, and it was like, no, because he like looks up into the air, follows the coin down. He's like, no, Coach Saban would never, And I mean, it's like that's what he's walking into, and he knows that. Like, anybody that took that job, if they had any kind of brain at all, knows that you're walking into a situation where the leash for the fans is going to be so small. I mean, it was small on Nick at times. I mean, Can you imagine? I mean, like this poor, the poor coaches at that school. Listen, it would be that way at any SEC school if you'd won 6 national titles in a 15-year span. I mean, it just he did it at such a high level. Whoever replaced him was going to be put in this awful situation. But, he's going to have a really good roster next year, it looks like, but barring, any kind of departures. They've already lost Bond, but, will they lose anybody else? Will Caden Proctor leave? Will Caleb Downs leave? But still should have a good roster next year. And then it's on him to start really recruiting at a high level. And Alabama will recruit itself to a degree, because of the success they have. But, he needs to hit the ground running and have some success early, because if he were to lose 1 or 2 games early in his tenure, it just puts himself behind the 8 ball. But again, he's won everywhere he's been, and he's bringing a staff that, he's very comfortable with. He kept Freddie Roach. He kept Robert Gillespie, but he's got a lot of that Washington staff that, he's very comfortable with and, feels like that, he can, go to battle with. And so, I think there's something to be said for that.
I know when Philip Fulmer was here as athletic director in terms of Tennessee, it's different, but there's talk of, Nick Saban being around the program a lot. Do you see that as a good thing, or would you rather in your program just have the old be out, right? And not have that around and that pressure around?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that that adds to the intrigue, right? I mean, it's I don't think you're never going to say Nick Saban can't come around. That would be not smart on his part. And I would say Coach Saban will give it space, right? If he has an office at Bryant Denny, place he goes into just to get out of the house. Nick Saban's going to play a ton of golf. He's gonna do things for him, but there are going to be times where he's around, and I think that you just know that going in. But I don't think Nick Saban. I think he respects the job, respects Kalen DeBoer enough to where he's not going to be over there at practice every day. Because he doesn't want to cast a big shadow. Because listen, he wants to keep the thing going that he built, right? He doesn't. Sure. I'm not saying he wants to have as much success as he did, but he doesn't want it to fall off. And so, just hanging around and presenting that big shadow, is something that could be hurtful for Kalen DeBoer. But at the same time, I think Coach Saban will be doing just enough other things. He's got enough business ventures. He's got enough scheduled tea times where it won't be as glaring as a lot of people are making it out to be, in my opinion.
Austin Price with us this morning of VolQuest and On 3. Also, I have to ask you, because we bring this up often. I say it also because I think I understand it. If you could you paint a real quick picture of what it's like recruiting in the SEC? Because it's always the topic of new coaches coming in or coaches losing guys. Is it as wild as we think it is?
Oh, 100%. It always was. It's never ending. It's a cutthroat business recruiting in this league, and if you don't have experience, you better learn from your experiences early on and figure it out, or you'll get eaten. This is a really probably made to be even more that way by NIL, by the transfer portal, by the fact that kids can leave on a dime now, that the players have all the power in a lot of ways. So this is a situation where, for him or for any coach, for Josh Heupel coming in a couple of years ago, you have to figure it out. Coach Heupel wasn't known as a great recruiter coming in. I think he's learned and gotten better. I think he's way more deliberate, in his recruiting now than he was when he was at Central Florida, because you're recruiting a different kind of kid, and it's just a different world in this league. And so you add in NIL and the money factor and all that stuff, and it's a thrill a minute in the SEC.
Austin Price of VolQuest.com has been our guest at Austin Priceless, where you can find him on Twitter and the latest as well on Tennessee, Florida tonight, 4 o'clock instead of 6 o'clock Central Time as the Vols take on the Gators. Austin, we appreciate it as always. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thanks,
yes,
Austin.
Sir. There's Austin Price. Get a snowplow to Brentwood, he says, for Tennessee's top target in the